It is Uncle Nick again, and as you can see, the gym is wrecked. But it's for a good reason. We picked up 97 mats this morning, and they are just strewn about until we get them into the other section of the building, which we are waiting for insulation. So until then, the gym is closed because clearly there's no room to do a damn thing in here. But it is good because it is progress in the right direction. It is a huge step into being done. Anyways, guys, for training this week, mainly I focused on my Circus Dumbbell and Stone and Steel. There was a lot of speed deadlifts, squats, strength involved with bands, but I don't want to repeatedly show you guys that same thing over and over. So for the Circus Dumbbell, I'm going to go over a lot of cues that I have in my mental checklist. There's a lot of different things going on in my mind, and I'm going to elaborate on those to hopefully help you guys with some of your cues, because I do some things differently than I see a lot of other people do them. So hopefully you guys retain something from this that can help you get to the next weight jump in your Circus Dumbbell. So for the Stone and Steel, I was actually supposed to work up for 3 reps for time over bar. And I worked up to a PR of 330 because that is my comp weight for the Arnold. Now, I don't think that is my true PR because I got it for a double, and I decided to call it there because it was towards the end of my training week and I wanted to avoid CNS digging. Before that, my PR was 320 pounds. So it's a 10-pound PR technically. And for the Nationals I had back in November, it was 310 for reps, and I felt comfortable at that weight. So 330 I was nervous about, but I can sleep easy night knowing I do have that, and it is not terrible. It's not easy, but it's not terrible. I have full confidence I can walk up and hit that come game day. It was basically a peace of mind thing for me to know that I have that weight. I do not like going into a comp and having an event at a weight that I have not hit before in training. It is just a mental game. Now, when you're in comp, you're up, you're elevated, and you tend to be a little bit stronger than you do in training because of that environment. So let's head on over to the commentary and see if Uncle Nick can learn you something.
All right, guys, jumping right into the Circus Dumbbell here. And I wanted to go over a handful of cues that really work for me that I go over in my head every time when I do this thing. And the first one is bar path. If you notice here, when this dumbbell pops up, boom, my wrists and my hips are in a perfectly straight line. I push that dumbbell over my head, not straight up. I push it towards the center of my head. And don't think about it as dropping under. Think about it as pushing yourself underneath the dumbbell. I actually sank to the dumbbell and not straight down. But the second set of cues that I wanted to mention to you guys, and one of them is something I've actually mentioned before, and that is actually the whole popping your hip out and creating that center line. So here it is. It goes straight up on the clean. Hit one. You notice my elbow is high. You'll see it better here. Elbow is high. Hip is out. I'm getting my brace. And the reason I have that chalk on my shoulder is so the dumbbell gets some traction. It doesn't slide all around. But you want that thing steady so when your leg drive goes in, the dumbbell does not move, and you have direct input from leg power to dumbbell, and it goes straight up in that bar path. So this is actually my PR set, 200 for 2, and I'll show you what I did right and show you what I did wrong here. So this cue is basically the clean. I step just a hair past the dumbbell, my arms are up against my hips, so my hips come through, my arms kind of rebound off of my hips, and that dumbbell fires up with that momentum I generated from my hips. First and second rep go like cake. I couldn't believe how fast they went up. And this is new waters for me, 200 for reps. But the third rep, you'll see here, look where my wrist is, look where my arm is. It is out to the side, and that is why it did not happen. Moved on to assistance here, and it was 10 wide grip pull-ups. I decided to go with the grenade grips because I like implementing grip strength stuff every chance I can. It was 15 Z presses, 15 Z presses, and I can't count, I did 14, then 7 strict log presses, then 10 toes to bar, and I can't count on that because I did 11. But this is the most honest press you could honestly do because you are seated, it makes you brace, and there's no other way to get any sort of drive out of this outside of your shoulders and your triceps. Moving on to the strict press, and your shoulders will be screaming at this point. So choose your weight wisely when doing anything in this format because it is designed to put you in the ground. I almost run my assistants like conditioning on stuff like this. I just move. That's why I filmed it in real time because I wanted to show you guys the speed and intensity that I worked through this. I did this all in less than a minute, around 45 seconds. 10 toes to bar, just squeezing your core, your upper back, and just getting everything as tight as possible to be snappy and explosive.
One set.
And here we are at the Stone of Steel. Now, this is one of my working sets. I was just warming up to 330, and I hit a couple reps up until about 260. I dropped down to singles, but there's definitely something wrong with this stone. I had to switch out. We need to give Mike Bartos a call because he needs to get his act together. I don't know what kind of equipment he's producing here, but this is subpar. I mean, it just kept coming apart. I don't know what was wrong with it. We couldn't really figure it out. So we had to switch out the stone here. And you can see how slippery that thing is. It's hard to hold on to, even at 230 pounds, which is something I can get any given day. But basically, it comes down to crush strength with this because it's powder coated. So if there's any sort of moisture or you're sweaty or humidity, it is hard to hold on to. Jumped up to 260, made 30-pound jumps all the way up to 330 because that is a comfortable weight jump for me with these stones. And just dialing it in so when I get to that max effort lift, everything is doing what it should be. Singles from here on out. We are moving to 290 next, and that was my go or no-go weight. And I actually wasn't confident it was going to happen. But 290 pounds, picked straight up, I held on to it, felt great, stepped under, put one foot under, got it high on my knees, crushed it, get my chest behind it, hips come up, then fire them through with a vengeance, and it went right over the bar. And I do that every single time. Every rep looks the same. And that is just through repetition of doing this over and over again. And I'm crushing my fingers underneath. That's kind of how I decide where center is. If it rolls forward or back on my hands, it should hurt. You should literally be crushing your fingertips. But here is my 330 pounds. And it went a lot better. I actually only intended to go for one rep, but the first rep felt amazing, honestly. So I go for my first rep here, and I pick it, and I was like, yep, this is going over the bar. I knew it was going up. Got a 10-pound PR for a double. 10 pounds heavier than my previous one rep max. So I go for this double, and the speed still felt good on this one, but I decided to call it on my second rep because I got 2 reps on my comp weight this far out from the competition, so I'm going to be able to sleep at night knowing that I won't zero anything.
Alright guys, so that is it for the commentary, and I hope there was something in there that you guys could take away to help with your Circus Dumbbell or your Stone of Steel, because they are 2 lifts that have just a lot of moving parts, and it should be a learning process every time you step up to either of those implements or any implement for that matter. Whatever it is, you should be learning, bottom line. Hopefully, next week I will have a lot more content for you guys. There's been a lot going on this week, and there's a lot more going on next week. I'm super excited for it, especially for this to be done, and just some upcoming things we have going on here. I can't wait, and I hope you guys enjoy what I had for you this week. Next week, I'm going to hit the ground running. It is more conjugate. I probably got about 10 more weeks. I just want to get as strong as I can for the Arnold, and conjugate is one of my favorite ways to do it. It's so effective, especially in my personal experience. I've gotten nothing but strength gains from conjugate programming. And I love the speed and explosiveness that is involved with this type of programming. But anyways, guys, until next week, get out there, get after it, and embrace the suck.